Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from the crew of Sailing Vessel Dream Chaser.
Merry Christmas, Papa.
Thank you, baby. Merry Christmas to you, too.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
Though it's Christmas week, we still wanted to make some progress on the projects on the boat. And the goal for this week was to start ripping up some of the teak on the starboard side of the boat. But before we rip up the teak, we had to take all the anchor chain that we laid up on top of the teak and put it in the anchor well. But before we could do that, we had to splice the anchor rod to the anchor chain, which you saw in an earlier video. But before we could do that, we had to unclog the drains that go from the anchor well overboard. In this episode, you're going to see us clearing out those anchor drains and how we did that both from above on the deck as well as down inside the anchor well. So hope you enjoy the video, and we'll see you next week, and hopefully we're ripping up some more teak at that point in time. It is funny ripping up teak, huh? I might not go with funny, folks, but she finds it funny. Well, as you can see, with the teak removed from the anchor well, the drain hole covers are proud from the deck. So I'm going to end up building this up with fiberglass when we get to that stage of the repair. Right now I'm removing the drain hole covers to inspect and unclog the plumbing lines that go from the deck, join together, and ultimately go out of a through hull on the starboard side of the boat just above the water line. And you can see here these things are pretty cruddy. They're a hose bar basically made out of bronze, and I'm just making sure that they are in good shape, and then how they connect down below, which I'll show you a little later in this video. It's now time to go ahead and repeat the process on the port side of the boat. So I'm going over here. You can see where the deck is already done. I like to put one of these old life jackets down just to kneel on to kind of protect my knees a little bit. But you can also see here there's a small little drain that goes right out the side of the anchor well right here, off to the outside of the boat. So I've already removed the screws from this particular drain, and at this point it's now time to start to pry the drain up. And just like on the other side, I'm using a screwdriver, and I'm just kind of inserting it along the sides, and I'm slowly prying this up a little bit and alternating from side to side. I've already removed the hose clamps from down below, which is important because I didn't want to rip the hose up into the deck, the hole that was in the deck. And you can see here there's a couple little tugs, and finally able to pull these bronze barbs right out of the hose fitting below and kind of through the deck. And after tapping this thing a little bit on the deck, I mean, it was amazing how much dirt and grime there was in there. It looked like a lot of dirt daubers and dust and likely mud that washed off of the anchor chain and just ultimately clogged these things over time. I'm now gathering up some of the small pieces of dirt and grime that are on the deck. I don't want those to clog the very small hole that drains overboard. So at this point I'm just kind of scooping these up and storing them in a little bucket I have right up here on the edge of the deck. Let's go ahead and go down below. So this is the underside of the anchor well, and what you're viewing is the port side of the bottom side of the anchor well. I only have it on the port side. I removed the starboard side because that pipe was clogged and we needed to go ahead and clear that out. So I'm showing the spot where the hole through the deck is where the hose bar went through and the PVC attached to that. So at this point I'm putting the PVC back on after clearing the clog. I decided not to glue the PVC in place here to make it easy when I need to do repairs down the road, which, given the way this thing is designed, I suspect that as mud comes up in the anchor from time to time, I am still going to run into a situation where some of that dirt and or mud will end up going down those drain holes and ultimately into this particular pipe. Given that it's got a T on it and it connects with 3 different drain lines from the 2 places in the anchor well from the deck as well as the actual anchor rod locker, I do suspect that it's an area that I'm going to end up having to clear again in the future. I'm not sure how well this is visible, but at this point there is a need to tighten up the hose clamps on both the starboard side
as well as on the port side. Just a matter of a little bit of body gymnastics to wedge yourself into an anchor well, and then see how your coordination works using one hand to hold everything in place and still tighten in the clamps. It was now time to start cleaning up a little bit of the work. There was a lot of little sanding dust from when I was working on the decks, as well as dirt and mud that was just dried in the bottom of this anchor road locker. So I'm just kind of scooping up the vast majority of it here by hand before I'll ultimately do the final cleanup with a small shop vac. At one point when I was kind of contorting myself into this well, I noticed the forward vertical wall here of the anchor well was pretty soft. You can see where I'm pushing on it. It actually flexes a little bit.
But that wall really seems like a project for another day. So right now I'm just testing out the drains. Before I actually connected the starboard pipe down below, I ran water in here on the port side, and I just had Deb take a look down below to make sure the water was flowing down that T and into the anchor well, and it was. So the next step now was to connect the plumbing all back up, and I tested it on the starboard side. And what you're seeing me do here is just basically line up a water hose and running water down into this drain. And what I ultimately want to see is when I lean out over the side of the boat, I want to make sure that I can see water coming out of the small drain above the water line. Here I just kind of put a camera out over the side, leaning out there, and you can see the water flowing. So for me, that was a good sign. It meant I was flowing water all the way from both the port and starboard anchor wells down through the T, past the connection where it connects to the anchor well, past the bilge level connection in the forward to study the anchor lockers, and then out overboard. So it was all good. The last thing I did was I basically just put the hose down through the hole in the deck and just ran water right into the anchor well itself to make sure that was connected. And I can even see in the water where all the mud was washing on through the line. You can actually see the discoloration there in the water. But good news.
From the crew of Dream Chaser, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thanks everybody for watching. We really appreciate the support on the channel and hope you have a wonderful holiday with family and friends.
Yeah. See you next year.
Bye now.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
And here's proof that this is absolutely Deb's son. Let's show you what he's doing. Oh yeah, video game.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for weekly updates and like this video.